The season had built up all year. You know, the team had done great, and I knew that in the run into this we were going to have to win a big game if we were going to make the Champions League. You know, Liverpool were hot and were heels to try and get there, but we had done great, and you know, the boys at the back and Nigel Martin in goal was exceptional. Nigel had given us great experience and great knowledge, and it was something special having Nigel in goal. It really was. And something which I wasn't sure about. I remember when they said, Jimmy and Woodsy said, what about Nigel Martin? I thought, oh, maybe 2-0, why Leeds letting him go? But he was inspired, he really was, Nigel. But then we came to the Manchester United game, and it was probably one of our finest nights, probably one of the best atmospheres I've ever had at Goodison. And Phil Neville tells me that. You know, he was a part of the team. Phil Neville, Tim Howard were part of the team which played that night, and actually Phil's brother Gary got sent off in the night, if you remember. And there was me and Sir Alex having a chin wag at the side of the pitch once or twice as well, which was quite well documented. But we were, you know, Everton were fighting for everything that night. And I remember the ball in and Duncan scored the header. And Duncan swinging away in celebration. It was probably fitting that Duncan scored the goal, because that was getting us in the Champions League. And Duncan had done so much for Everton over the years. And I wouldn't say he was having his best time, but Duncan was really important to us. You know, he'd come off the bench a few times the season before and was really important to us. But Duncan scored the goal. You know, big players turn up on the big nights, and Duncan scored a goal which Goodison was rocking that night, and one of the best nights we've ever had. And as I said, Phil and the Man United players, they knew it. They knew that night Everton was a place you didn't want to come.
I just remember the pace being electric and it being so fast, and the crowd was right up for it. You could sense that, you know, looking back, something was on the horizon. And I think that was the season Everton finished in Champions League position, and they were grinding out results, and they were just so hard to play against. And I remember we got 2 sent off in that game, and a big set piece, Dunk towered home a header, and I just remember really being so difficult and it being deafening, particularly down the Gladys Street end, and it ended up being such a very difficult game for us, and we never ever were able to get into the game.
You can see David Moyes just on the edge of the pitch, and 2 arms are just urging them forward every time that they get possession. He wants his fullbacks to support the attacks every time. It's a fine ball from Wayne Rooney to Scholes, great save. Well, it was an eye of the needle job from Wayne Rooney, picked out Scholes brilliantly. And Nigel Martin, Johnny on the spot as ever, made a great save. It's a good ball from Ferguson. Again reliant upon the pace of Marcus Bent. And Cahill and Ferguson racing in. And just a coming together between goalkeeper and striker. Good turn from Arteta. This is looking promising for Everton here. Space just opened up for the Spaniard. Kilban hurried the cross. Arteta. Everton in with Ronaldo, and Everton get the decision. And as soon as that whistle was blown, I feared for Everton really, but Phil Dowd possibly has evened things up ever so slightly. Ball in. It's a good one, and it's in! But Ferguson takes the adulation, and if it is to go to him, it's his 7th career goal against United. It was a teasing ball in. Just keep your eye on Rio Ferdinand. It was the header from Ferguson. It didn't get a touch, it was true. And that is a brilliant, brilliant. Well, that is unstoppable. Ferguson came in, look at that, glanced past, and it gives Everton a priceless lead. Look how much it means to him. Well, Gary Neville been sent off there. Well, that's why he's kicked the ball into the crowd. And that is a very brave decision by Phil Dowd, but one you have to applaud. Beating of the challenge on Keane, it's a fair one. Didn't get a shout, Roy Keane. And Scholes is in trouble here. And he's off. Well, it was a wild challenge on Kevin Kilban. And that is the final whistle. And that could become a really famous win tonight. Duncan Ferguson is again the Everton hero when it comes to beating Manchester United.
Everybody knew that this was it. If Everton were going to be in the Champions League, the time had come, you know, and the boys didn't disappoint. The boys at the back were solid, because when you play Manchester United, it's always going to be a difficult game. And if you're going to win something, if you're going to be in the final, you're probably going to have to beat Manchester United, Liverpool, somewhere in the way to do so. And in the league, we had beaten Liverpool, what we talked about earlier in one of the other games. And so this is why this Manchester United game goes into my top 10, because I think that I think everybody at Everton knew how important it was.